Thank you for joining us today to learn more about the Liberty Hall 360 immersive film experience. My name is Ed Johnston. I'm an associate professor in the Michael Graves College at Kean University. I teach experience design within the graphic design program.
Hey everyone, my name is Sahil Patel, and I am a lecturer at the Michael Graves College at Kean University. I teach design technology within the graphic design program.
Hello, my name is Henry Stankiewicz, and I am an assistant professor in the Michael Graves College at Kean University. I teach motion and interactive design within the graphic design program. You will also hear snippets from other collaborators on the project, as this was, at its core, a collaboration challenge. We're about to watch a short promotional video that we put together for the project with our colleagues in the history department, Dr. Jonathan Mercantini and Dr. Elizabeth Hyde.
Liberty Hall 360 is a reenactment of the marriage of John Jay and Sarah Livingston. So the purpose of this project is to leverage the capabilities of VR and 360-degree video and place our viewer in the point of view of a guest that would have been in the wedding. You don't have to be in the museum to experience it. You can actually put on these VR viewers and experience the important history anywhere. We want the viewer to feel like they time traveled back to the 1700s.
The marriage of Sarah Livingston to John Jay in April of 1774 is important, of course, to the history of Kean University because it took place right here on campus. And it was the first socially, culturally, and politically important event to be held here. The bride, Sarah Livingston, was the daughter of William Livingston, who would become the first elected governor of New Jersey. The groom was John Jay, the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. It also is interesting to us because it takes place in the months leading up to the American Revolution. It's a fascinating time in American history and a fascinating time in the history of Liberty Hall.
What's really exciting is the marrying of this old history, almost 250 years ago now, with the state-of-the-art digital virtual reality 360 technology. And that's why it's so exciting to partner with our School of Design, our theater program in creating this reenactment. And it's about using those traditional history methods, but conveying history in a really new and exciting way.
In my honors history class, we looked at first-hand documents over at the museum and on campus to recreate the events surrounding the wedding. We used John Jay and Sarah Livingston's love letters and other artifacts from the time period to write the script.
So the purpose for Liberty Hall 360 is to show to other students and visitors to the museum how important it is to keep in mind the things that happened in our past and how they relate to our present. Virtual reality can help to further research and expand our knowledge on things that happened hundreds of years ago.
It's really exciting to work on a project that goes beyond our historical research. Working together with the different departments at Kane is really cool because we're recreating something that happened on Kane campus in the 18th century. It's really going to bring history alive to the modern audience.
The challenge that we identified in this project was how might we give audiences and museum goers the exciting experience of feeling like they were actually in attendance at this historic occasion.
Our team had previous experience recreating historic and cultural heritage locations, including a guided 360-degree tour of Michael Graves' residence and studio, and the award-winning Room of Echoes project, where a single room in Liberty Hall was recreated at different periods throughout history to show how that particular room had changed in appearance and also usage over its 250-year history. While reflecting on both of these projects, we felt there was something missing from the audience perspective, and we narrowed it down to concepts such as audience participation, interaction, immersion, and ultimately, presence. Achieving presence in VR is the challenge to deliver an experience of being there in a virtual environment. Carry heater-separated presence into personal presence, where a person recognizes their existence in a virtual environment, and social presence, which is felt through interaction with artificial intelligence or other people in VR. Much like pairing audio and video to deliver a complete experience, we knew we needed to pair both the personal presence successes we've attained in those past projects with elements of social presence in order to create something unique and exciting for audiences to watch. To simplify our approach to this challenge for Liberty Hall 360, we developed a simple two-step framework, mostly to remind ourselves to consider social presence throughout the making of the film. Step 1. Put them there. This is the easier step, determining what mechanism for transporting the audience into the virtual environment. We decided on virtual reality via head-mounted display for Liberty Hall 360. We felt this would give the most believable feeling of personal presence for most audiences by completely taking over both the vision and the hearing of the audience. Step 2. Give them a reason to be there. We felt that the missing social presence we were designing for would come from the addition of storytelling. Liberty Hall 360 quickly became an exploration of virtual storytelling. This storytelling journey of Step 2 would not only help us focus on designing for social presence, but it also bolstered how we approached Step 1. It wasn't enough to just drop a viewer into the middle of the scene and let them watch a story unfold. We felt we had to put the viewer into the scene and make them part of the event. Our solution to this presence challenge was an immersive 360-degree film experience for virtual reality headsets entitled Liberty Hall 360: A Revolutionary Wedding. A talented cast of characters leads the audience on a journey as they experience the story through the eyes of Lucas Horatio Stockton, an adventurous child who would have attended the event with his parents. Through the point of view of the in-story character, the audience romps around the well-appointed manor and grounds, catching a glimpse of the pomp and politics of the celebratory day. As mentioned before, this was a collaboration challenge, and this experience was created through the collaboration of students, faculty, staff, university alumni, and neighbors across multiple disciplines.
And now we'll talk a bit more about the design process. Initial project stakeholders organized and defined initial goals. Different funding mechanisms were established to drive research, and students collaborated with faculty to drive research and production tests. A collaborative team was formulated from that activity, and project goals were clarified. Script and screenplay drafts went through several iterations. Considerations for storytelling in 360 degrees were established, and the collaborative team grew. And for a moment here, we're going to hear from Emmanuel Vozos about that specific topic, about all the different groups and volunteers that we had that really made this project come alive.
For me, one of the most enjoyable aspects of this project was that we were able to involve so many different groups. The project began with the students of the history department doing their research. Once it was taken to our design school and Professor Johnston, it started to take shape as a potential film project. Once it came across my desk, it seemed to become something that would not only represent an exciting new student-driven filmmaking project, but also something that would be helpful for the museum, helpful for all of the different academic departments, and a really fun, exciting, and worthy application of new technology, new resources, and creative energy to create something that would benefit a lot of different people, especially guests to the museum, the students who are involved in the making of it, and ideally the people of New Jersey who would learn more about the history of the state once they saw the project. Having members of the Brigade of the American Revolution, the reenacting community, come on board was really exciting. They were actors, they were our historical experts and consultants. They helped track down props and costumes and instructed our cast on how to wear things, how different parts of their costumes worked. Having those historical reenactors was a huge advantage, and it allowed our project to have so much more authenticity and this sort of bedrock, this baseline of historical accuracy that we could build on top of to tell the story that we wanted to tell. The diversity of the cast and crew also added another dimension to the story and allowed us to represent not just the New Jersey of the past, but the New Jersey of the present. And that intergenerational new way of looking at history, we thought would really bring the material to life for today's students. 360-degree virtual reality creates an interesting storytelling challenge when trying to identify the point of view of the viewer. You can create a neutral, omniscient point of view and drop the audience into the center of a room, but you can also use an in-story character to be your point of view. And we thought for this project, that would be the right way to go. We decided on this character of Lucius Horatio Stockton, a young child who would have been in attendance with his parents at this wedding. This childlike point of view would be a great way to facilitate moving around the house and getting to see as many rooms as possible, as well as getting a look at all of the different personalities and different characters that would have been around the wedding. We established in the beginning that this character is rambunctious and energetic and adventurous, and that sets up the wandering camera that goes throughout the mansion into the groom's room as he and the other men are having drinks and talking about politics, into the bride's room as she is preparing for the wedding and she's discussing etiquette and propriety and the social requirements of the day, to the kitchen with the staff, into the wine cellar with Livingston Jr. And basically this little rambunctious character of Lucius gets us around the entire grounds and is our point of view character. It also allows for interesting ways to end scenes, because whenever you finish telling the story you want to tell, you can have a character turn to camera and say, "What are you doing here, little boy? Run along."
Coordination with the museum and across the various team members was essential for successful days of production. Important considerations were made for both immersive video and audio recording.
We organized the days of shooting very efficiently, trying to maximize our time in the location, our natural light, as well as make the most of the time dedicated to the project by our students, crew, guests, neighbors, etc. Myself and a number of crew members have experience working on professional film production, and we adapted what is essentially best practice for a Hollywood production into an educational project. We went about it really efficiently because of that.
And now we'll hear briefly from Professor Henry Stankiewicz on the complexities of recording audio for immersive environments. We'll also hear from him on the benefits of these kinds of projects in terms of student learning.
Working with audio for Liberty Hall 360 was a research project in itself, as unique challenges arose during every phase of production. While planning for audio and video capture, the notion of directional audio that is variable and relative to the viewer's specific and changing field of view was an immediate concern. One of the main goals of this virtual reality production was immersion, which requires multiple senses receiving the same signals in unison from perceivably the same source locations. For this project, recording directional audio was not an option with technology available, nor was the ability to reliably design directional audio in post. Recording a cast of 30 on a low production budget and in a historical house built in 1772 with rudimentary sound isolation created many opportunities to design creative solutions. For scenes in which there was a small speaking contingent, like the opening welcome scene, each speaking actor was directly fitted with a wireless lavalier microphone. This was the easiest and most straightforward solution. Complications arose as the number of speaking roles per scene increased. For some actors, costumes were not conducive to directly mounting a lavalier microphone. For some scenes, actors were too close in proximity and their feeds were muddled together, creating poor capture quality. In other scenes, the number of speaking parts exceeded the number of individual lavalier microphones on hand. Each of these challenges were handled differently, and each scene was shot using its own audio strategy. In scenes where close proximity was creating feedback and other noise-related issues, lavaliers were placed strategically on cast members that were central to the different areas where speaking roles were performed. Behind closed doors and away from the action, students and faculty on the audio team were tasked with adjusting microphone gain while live action was taking place in order to effectively pick up the different actions near the centralized lavalier. In other scenes, like the kitchen scene where costumes were not conducive to running lavaliers, shotgun microphones were hidden directly in the scene to cover wide portions of the room. The gain levels for these microphones were also mixed live while the action was taking place. In the bride's room scene where shotgun microphones could not be hidden, costumes were not conducive, and proximity of actors created multiple issues, a single shotgun microphone was set on a boom pole into the center of the room and above all of the actors. This boom setup would later be painstakingly healed out of the scene in post-production. All of these solutions worked fairly well during the limited production days, but eventually the decision was made in post to bring all of the actors with speaking roles back into the studio to record ADR takes of their parts. Automated dialogue replacement is a process by which actors watch playbacks of their scenes and then capture clean voice recordings that match up to the original take. These clean recordings are then used to replace the ones captured in production to provide a clean, uniform audio experience. One of the most exciting aspects of this project was the ability to include design students in a live production environment to augment their regular curriculum. The experience these students received included working as a part of a team in a high-stress environment, working directly with complex audio scenarios, and working to design solutions to obstacles and issues as they arose in a time-sensitive environment. Watching our students jump directly into and work successfully in roles they had no prior knowledge of and accept and perform their responsibilities with enthusiasm and professionalism was easily the most memorable part of working on Liberty Hall 360. This aspect of the project will certainly be motivation for developing similar projects in the future.
Using a variety of editing software, both an immersive 360-degree experience and a widescreen HD film were created, screened, and published to YouTube.
Our project was recognized on various esteemed platforms. We received the Vidi Platinum Award and were honored with the Marcom Platinum Award. We secured a New York Emmy nomination in the Nostalgia category. Moreover, sections of our work were exhibited at the Biennial International Motion Design Education Summit, held this past June in Philadelphia. It is worth noting that these accolades not only elevated the prestige of our university, but also enriched the resumes of over 50 students who contributed to this project. As we move forward, we see immense potential in leveraging this project for further collaborations and grants. We are exploring the possibility of another partnership with the Nantucket Historical Association to enhance the National Historic Landmark District sites on Nantucket. Furthermore, we have already leveraged this project to apply for the 2024-2025 National Endowment for the Arts Grant. Our proposal aims to design and provide accessible, story-based learning experiences for these landmark sites. Another noteworthy outcome of our endeavor is the establishment of the Center for Immersive Experiences at the Michael Graves College. This center is a testament to our commitment to fostering innovation and immersive learning. It provides students with opportunities to engage in hands-on work with virtual reality and other extended reality technologies. Through internships and research projects, students from diverse disciplines, including design, architecture, film, theater, and computer science, can access and benefit from the resources at the center. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation on behalf of the Michael Graves College students and project colleagues. Stay tuned for the official trailer of Liberty Hall 360, followed by the short film.
Ah, Mrs. Stockton, welcome to my new home.
Mr. Livingston, it is delightful to see you.
You are marrying John Jay, not the Prince of Silk and Light. Though he does not come from a family of great stature, prosperous futures come from humble beginnings.
Just last week, the Sons of Liberty successfully stopped a shipment of tea entering customs in Sandy Hook, a sign that these protests are no aberration and are in fact gaining in virulence.
It is not the protests I speak against, but rather the violence and vitriol against kinsmen that worries me. Britain is our mother country, and once our grievances are redressed, any venom spewed forth will not make reconciliation any easier.
And to this day, I would toast the blessed couple. To my new son, John Jay, my precious daughter, Sarah J. I hope you all enjoyed the festivities, and applaud me now as I introduce this new home as Liberty Hall.
To Liberty Hall!
Spring 1774, a time of uncertainty in the North American colonies. As British Parliament readies a response to the Boston Tea Party, tensions between patriots and loyalists continue to rise. Some fear violence is inevitable. Despite this growing discord, guests from both opposing factions converge on Elizabethtown, New Jersey, to celebrate a happy occasion. Prominent New York lawyer and politician William Livingston readies his new estate to welcome the elite society of both New York and New Jersey to the quiet outskirts of Elizabethtown. They're attending the wedding of his youngest daughter, Sarah, to John Jay, a rising star on the New York legal scene. And as the buzz of young love passes through the happy couple and their guests, the energy shifts and conversations turn towards unions of a different sort.
Mrs. Stockton, welcome. Welcome to my new home.
Mr. Livingston, it is delightful to see you.
I am so pleased you're able to join us. Is Mr. Stockton here?
Oh, just a few steps behind. It is I who had to run after a certain stir-crazy ruffian, cooped up too long in a carriage. But congratulations to you and Susanna for securing such an excellent match for your Sally. John Jay is a fine and promising lawyer, and perhaps an even better man.
Oh, indeed. I'm quite fond of the young man. Lawyers we have in great abundance, but good men are in rather short supply these days. I hope your journey to the outskirts of Elizabeth was without incident, I trust.
Yes, the journey was long, but upon viewing it myself, let me declare how truly glorious it is here. I knew it had to be idyllic if you were to coax your wife and daughters to leave the city.
Yes, well, thank you. As soon as we acquired the land, we immediately began making improvements.
That is plain to see. You have the makings of a lovely orchard.
Oh, I certainly hope so. We've planted dozens of apple trees, imported the finest pears and plums, and mind your step. My daughters will have my head if one of their precious horse chestnut sprouts is trampled. They're shipped in all the way from London.
Ah, so this is what you envisioned when you wrote your philosophic solitude.
Flatter me, Mrs. Stockton. But yes, perhaps I can make that young dream come true, here and now, and be at peace. If we remain at peace, I worry. But I hope you will grace us with some of your very fine verses before the end of the day, perhaps something of a lighter nature.
Now it is you who seek to flatter me. See the blessed hour arrive. Even now the peaceful clime I view, where where gentle love and virtue thrives, and souls their lapsed powers renew.
What beautiful poetry. Most apt for this auspicious day. Could this young Hercules be Lucius? My, how you have sprouted.
That is correct, sir. This is Lucius Horatio. Careful, though. He has an unending supply of rambunctious energy and relishes running through this countryside. This beautiful countryside, especially now that he has been breached.
Oh, well, excellent. Well, run along, young master, and explore. But please, try to avoid setting the house ablaze until after dinner. I'm afraid Mrs. Livingston would insist. Oh, and mind the horse chestnuts, lad. Gentlemen, how is the groom proceeding?
He is still present, cousin, which I consider to be a most advantageous sign.
Huzzah! Robert, John Jay is a courageous young man. Do you think that I could warm to such a rascal who would slight us in such a cruel manner?
Oh, no. My faint slight was merely an attempt to provoke Jay to quiver, an act I've rarely witnessed in his company.
That is true.
Certainly not in any of our more trying court cases, though, if any event would deem it prudent to do so.
Your confidences, gentlemen, are a pleasant distraction, though it is not the father's wrath that yields such quaking in me, but that of his headstrong daughter.
And how is it, sir, that Mr. J managed to escape your wrath in this? The holding of an Anglican ceremony in the parlor of such a prominent public accuser of the Episcopal Church, such as yourself?
Mr. Hamilton, it is a pity you were not in attendance during our debates of the moot. Despite our differences, there I discerned a man of quality and intelligence, more than enough to override any misgivings I might possibly have about his faith. More pertinent, I clearly perceive his love for Sally to be true, as does Sally.
Well, surely, sir, there are hesitations beyond Jay's religion. What of that pernicious rumor that Jay only began to court Sally in response to being rejected, not once, but twice, by women of the Delancey clan, your family's sworn political opponent.
Cavorting with the enemy, Jay? Robert, friend, clearly this lover of the king will not do for your dear cousin. Sir, if you desire it so, I will gladly take the place of Jay on this momentous day. There are any tendencies or grievances on your part, of course. I will fall upon this sword, if I must. And Sally will be just a consequent prize. And a beautiful one at that.
And break poor Kitty's heart, Alexander.
Oh, no, that will not do at all. However, if somehow you manage to finish your schooling and rise in rank, I might be inclined to consider a possible coupling.
Deliver this to Kitty at once.
Are you quite sure about this dress, sister? Perhaps there's still time to invite the dressmaker up and make some changes. Another bow or some more frills?
Oh, I don't know. Will there be enough time, Mother?
You're fine.
Oh, hideous thing! I've seen better dresses on the horses. Oh, Sarah, of course he will love it. You are marrying John Jay, not the Prince of Silk and Lace. He's a respectable man, yes, but he does not come from a powerful family such as ours.
Kitty, though he does not come from a family of great stature, prosperous futures come from humble beginnings.
Like your horse chestnuts.
Susan, please. No, Sally. Mr. J is one lucky gentleman, to be sure. But you need to be the kind of wife he'll expect you to be. And you've seen how I've treated your father. This is not a trivial matter. Nevertheless, he will rely on you to run his household, serve him and his friends, raise his children and his fortunes. And you must be agreeable to every one of his needs.
Oh, Mother, of course Sarah knows her duty. She is the best one of us fit for marriage, and she's lucky to be marrying so soon, before either of us, no less.
You have been a great example, Mother. I'm reserved today, but I'm sure I will learn in time. I truly wish our friend Mary Phillips were here to calm my nerves.
What a pity. It was too hot for her to make the journey. Poor Mary.
Miss Sarah, madam, which would you prefer, the pearls or the gold chain?
The pearls.
Oh, how I hope to have a dance with Mr. Hamilton this evening. His correspondent seems to recommend his manner well.
Correspondence, yes, but actions perhaps not. If his reputation is to be believed, he does not seem fit for the life of marriage yet. Far too busy a social calendar.
Ladies, behave yourselves.
Well?
You do look splendid, Sarah. Mr. J truly will not be able to keep his eyes off of you.
Lucius, go find something useful to do.
Well, what did she say?
This way, Brockholst. I'm quite sure this is where the brandy has absconded to.
Cheers, brother, and welcome.
Hello, Brock. Is everything looking in order out there?
Greetings, gentlemen. The guests are beginning to arrive in some number. Mr. Oliver Delancey's entourage is becoming quite restless. Jay, your guests, I presume?
Were the Delanceys as loyal to the principle of promptitude as they are to the principles of unbridled taxation, we might engage more harmoniously on civic discussions. Brockholst, please direct the Delanceys to the barn for the ceremony.
Yes.
Brock, my soon-to-be brother, I believe a congratulations is in order. This fine young man will soon graduate from college.
Huzzah! Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Do tell me, Brock, you must have witnessed the tea protest there last January?
Yes, is it true that they strung up an effigy of Governor Hutchinson with a tea canister around his neck?
A sight that must have been.
A sight? Such rash and intemperate behavior by a mob should not be commended, Alexander, even if there is apt justification.
You are, of course, right to recommend prudence, John, but I could not help but cheer the burning of the winter store of tea in unanimity with other like protests in Boston and New York.
And elsewhere in New Jersey as well. Just last week, the Sons of Liberty stopped a shipment of tea from entering customs in Sandy Hook, a sign that these protests are no aberration and are in fact gaining in virulence.
It is not the protests I speak against, but rather the violence and vitriol against kinsmen that worries me. Britain is our mother country, and once our grievances are redressed, any venom spewed forth will not make reconciliation any easier.
A man of temperate mind and quality.
Sir, some of the guests are asking for tea.
Coffee will do. And if it will not, you can direct them to the horse trough outside. They'll find no tea in this house.
Huzzah!
Get that turkey basted now. That was supposed to be done regularly with shrewdness. How's that the ceremony is moments from commencement, and I have yet to see the asparagus. Beef tongues. Ooh, get those beef tongues stewing now, Eliza, or they will never be tender. Pigeon pie is done, but it cannot be served without the side of yellow crookneck squash. Where's the yellow crookneck squash, Eliza? Right. The plum cake has about cooled. If one of you diligent artisans could find it within yourselves to get the white frosting for the bride's cake started, then both cakes might even be ready in time to be displayed. And if God's graces be bountiful, they might even be enjoyed. Oh, no. And Master, I must ask you to stop at once. This is no place for a dignified youth such as yourself. Find your way upstairs at once. Eliza! Help me, boy.
Dearly beloved, we have come together in the presence of God to witness and bless the joining of this man and this woman in holy matrimony. Will you have this man to be your husband, to live together in the covenant of marriage? Will you love him, comfort him, honor and obey?
That's what they like to think.
Of course, only the woman has to obey.
In time that will change, I assure you.
In sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, be faithful as long as you both shall live?
I will.
Will all of you, witnessing these promises, do all in your power to uphold these two persons in their marriage?
We will. In the name of God, I, John J.
And I, Sarah Livingston,
take you to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, until we are parted by death. This is my solemn vow.
The rings. Bless, O Lord, these rings as a sign of the vows by which this man and this woman have bound themselves to each other through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Those who God hath joined together, let no one put asunder.
Father supreme of human race, who dwell of in unapproached light, beyond the pure empyrean where thou wills high than of above all height. Whilst with thy name the heavens resound, let earth one genial chorus voice, and all beneath the spacious sky unite in thy stupendous praise. With sacred awe, let every tongue pronounce the dearest, tremendous name, and far as heard be far diffused, profoundest reverence all around. Amen.
Amen. You may kiss the bride.
Coffee, sir?
Coffee? What abomination upon the king is this? Where is the tea?
Well, there is no tea. Upon request of Master Livingston, there is only coffee.
I'll never drink such a creation. Get it out of my face.
What a marvelous affair.
Yes, it is. And I hope, Madame, you're enjoying the food?
Of course, every piece of it, especially the yellow crookneck squash.
I hope you'll enjoy the wedding cake. Much time was spent making it perfect. Young Master here almost took a piece of it while it was being prepared.
Oh, you can't fault him. Children will be children. If it's as good as you say, I might have tried to steal a piece too.
It's almost time for you to toast the blessed couple, sir.
Yes, of course. Follow me down to the wine cellar. We'll choose an appropriate spirit.
You wouldn't believe the things I've been hearing. 'Twould seem the guests have reckoned Kitty and that treacherous Hamilton something of an item.
Is that so?
Father, I do believe dear Kitty would be better matched with someone of more dignity.
Junior, I would find it most fortunate if your sister were to wed a suitor of Hamilton's promise. Perhaps one with less of a thirst for celebration as her brother.
Hamilton's promise? You puffed that boy up, sir.
Now, Junior.
We need to choose refreshment for the guests. If young Master Livingston has left a drop, we still have plenty of your bottles of rum, or if that's not to your liking, perhaps the cider? Or did you import them to sit in a dank basement unenjoyed,
Oh,
sir?
this is a transcendent thing we are celebrating here today. My daughter has just been married, and I'll be damned if I toast with rum or cider. Now, you speak of imports lying about. Do we have any more of that Portuguese wine? I want the memory of this day to leave a good taste in my mouth, and perhaps a touch of the spell of Dionysus on my countenance.
I do believe the Madeira would go down a right smash, Father.
You see? Consensus. Grab the Madeira. Junior, come along. No good has ever come from skulking about in dark wine cellars.
There you are, child. Now stay within my sights.
A toast to the King, the Queen, the Prince of Wales, and the royal family. May the interests of Great Britain and her colonies be always united in corresponding providence. Do you think you forgot anyone? Perhaps we'll toast to the Duke of Canterbury next.
To George III, in his most august title.
Hear, hear.
Grant him long to reign a contented and free people. And may he never desire loyal subjects ready to defend the dignity of the crown against injurious trespasses of liberty. May Great Britain see her error before America ceases in affection.
Huzzah!
And to this day, I would toast the blessed couple. To John Jay, my new son, and to my precious daughter, Sarah Jay. I hope you all enjoyed the festivities and applaud me as I introduce this new home as Liberty Hall.
To Liberty Hall!
Although I adore the name, I do believe Ursino would be a better fit for this rural manor.
3 cheers to Liberty Hall! Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah!